There are so many under-sink water filters that are supposedly the best at reducing harmful contaminants in drinking water, which can make it hard for you to decide which is actually best for your specific situation. Well, I recently installed the clearly filtered 3-stage under-sink system, and I think it's amazing for a few specific water situations. First, let's talk about the price, because I know that's always top of mind when looking for a new water filter. This unit currently costs $550, which puts it on the pricier end when compared to similar systems. You can get a bit of a discount if you sign up for the filter replacement subscription program, which knocks off $55 from the initial price. The good news is that the filters the system uses have long projected lifespans of up to 15 months, so on average you'll only have to buy replacement filters around once a year. But of course, the exact time frame for filter changes depends on your water quality and usage. So I calculated the ongoing cost of filter replacements to be just 22 cents per gallon. Now it's pretty interesting to compare this to their water filter pitcher, which costs 55 cents per gallon, making it twice as expensive to maintain despite only having a single filter to replace. So yes, it's pretty expensive up front, but I just wanted to provide some perspective on the ongoing cost of replacement filters and show you that this one's actually pretty affordable to maintain. Okay, so this system uses 3 separate filter cartridges to tackle a range of contaminants in tap water. Now, Clearly Filtered are pretty secretive about which specific filtration media are used in the system, but we do know that one of the filters contains coconut carbon, and that's what's going to reduce chlorine and its associated tastes and odors, as well as other organic chemicals like disinfection byproducts and PFAS. And I also have reason to believe that the system uses an ion exchange resin, which I'll explain why in just a minute when I show you our testing data. So the system attaches directly to your cold water line, meaning that it's going to filter all the cold water coming from your kitchen faucet. Whatever you use that water for, drinking, cooking, filling pet water bowls, watering your plants, it's all going to be filtered, which is one of the most convenient features of a direct connect system like this. Now, there are a number of things about this system that I really do like. Number one is that it did a great job at greatly reducing or completely removing the contaminants I was most concerned about in my water. And it's also WQA certified to NSF standard 42 for the reduction of chlorine, tastes, and odors, which is good that this system has been performance tested by a trusted third-party organization. And changing the filters is easy and affordable, as I already mentioned, and all the filters have the same lifespan, so that makes things super easy and simple, and you don't have to remember to change different filters at different times. It also boasts an impressive flow rate. I filled 2 cups of water in 6.95 seconds, which is equal to 1.01 gallons per minute. Now, obviously, you are going to notice a decrease in pressure compared to the unfiltered hot water, but the flow of water from my faucet was consistent and steady, and I didn't feel like I had to wait around for my glass to fill. And finally, the system was really quite easy to install. It only has 2 simple connections, one from the incoming water line and the other to the existing faucet, and there's no extra work involved in connecting a drain line or a dedicated faucet. It's also a non-permanent installation, so even if you live in a rental property, it's still a viable option. Now, there are just a couple of things I wish that Clearly Filtered had done a bit better. First, and most importantly, I'd like to see the system actually performance certified for more than just chlorine reduction. NSF standard 42 certifications are the most common, and while I'm happy to see this official proof of performance, I'd also like to see certifications for the reduction of contaminants I'm more concerned about, like NSF standard 53 for lead, PFAS, and other substances with known health effects. There's also the cost. As I've already mentioned before, this is an expensive point of use filter, and not everyone's going to want to spend over $500 up front. And finally, the lab detected an increase in some impurities post-filtration, so now let's talk about our testing. We tested the Clearly Filtered under sink system with our shared treated well water in Colorado. I do want to note that these results are based on our specific water conditions, and filter performance can vary depending on location and contaminants present. Our water has a unique cocktail of contaminants, and if you tested your own water, the results would likely be different. I strongly suggest testing your own water so you can find the best water filter to address your specific water quality concerns. So I used a lab testing service called TapScore to test the water at our kitchen faucet before and after installing the Clearly Filtered system. Lab testing provides more detail and accuracy than DIY test strips, so it's ideal if you want to know exactly what you're dealing with. And by the way, guys, I'll put links to everything I've talked about down in the description. Now, 10 contaminants with possible health effects were detected in our unfiltered water, which for me was pretty concerning. Most notably, 4 of these, fluoride, uranium, chloroform, and copper, exceeded TAPSCOR's health guideline levels, meaning they were present in concentrations that could pose health risks if consumed in the long term. Our water also contained chlorine, the most common drinking water disinfectant that gives water that distinctive swimming pool taste and smell, as well as nitrate, barium, molybdenum, strontium, sulfate, and a few trace minerals and salts like calcium and sodium. Now give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you enjoy content about real first-hand experience and testing and what water filter you want to see us test next. So the post-filtration results showed that the Clearly Filtered had completely eliminated 3 of the 4 contaminants above the HGL: uranium, chloroform, and fluoride. And copper was almost completely removed with a 99.39% reduction. As for the contaminants detected below the HGL, the Clearly Filtered undersink water filter removed 100% of barium, strontium, and chlorine. It did a poor job of reducing nitrate by just 23%, and sulfate and molybdenum were barely reduced at all. But it's important to note that the manufacturer does not claim to reduce these contaminants anyway, so these reductions are just incidental. I was overall happy to see this strong contaminant reduction performance, but there was one major change to our water quality that I did not expect. Sodium levels actually increased by 349% from just 11.2 to 50.3 parts per million. Additionally, potassium was detected in the water post-filtration, where it was absent in the unfiltered water. We also noticed that calcium was reduced by over 92% from 30.5 to just 2.4 ppm, and magnesium levels also slightly dropped from 7.3 to 6.91 ppm. Now, for a bit of context, we conducted our testing on the same day that we installed the Clearly Filtered undersink system. We installed it in the morning and then used water all day, so filtered about 10 gallons before taking the post-installation samples. So knowing this, we can't attribute these detections to natural changes in the incoming water over time. The most probable hypothesis is that the mineral concentrations were affected by one of the filters in the system. Clearly Filtered is pretty secretive about exactly what their filter cartridges contain, but I'd guess there's some form of combined sodium and potassium loaded ion exchange resins in the filters. This would explain why sodium and potassium increased, while other ions like calcium, magnesium, and uranium decreased. Now, while this may seem alarming to some, I personally don't think it's a deal breaker. And if my assumptions about ion exchange resin are correct, this would actually be an expected result. The EPA recommends that sodium concentrations in drinking water don't exceed 30 to 60 ppm to avoid adverse drinking effects. So while our water contained enough sodium to affect the taste for some people, it was still safe to drink. A report by the World Health Organization also notes that there's currently no evidence to suggest that the potassium levels in municipally treated drinking water, even water treated with potassium permanganate, pose any human health risks. And in terms of the calcium reduction we saw, most of us get the calcium we need from foods in our diet, so removing it from your drinking water shouldn't lead to deficiencies in most cases. That said, if you're on a low sodium diet or you really don't want to reduce the healthy minerals in your water, you might want to consider something else. And interestingly, Clearly Filtered actually claim on their website that this undersink water filter does not reduce healthy minerals. So who would I recommend the Clearly Filtered undersink water filtration system to? If you have the budget for a premium water filter, you're specifically looking for a system you can hide out of sight, or would prefer filtered water on demand, this is a great system to consider, especially if you want a high-performing water filter that's not reverse osmosis and is super easy to install yourself, and you're concerned about contaminants like fluoride, uranium, copper, and disinfection byproducts in your water. Now, I wouldn't recommend this water filter to folks with a tight budget because there could be cheaper options capable of addressing your specific contaminants of concern. It all depends on your water quality. Like I already said, I also wouldn't recommend the system if you're on a low sodium diet or if you're highly sensitive to tastes in your water, because you might notice a slightly salty taste immediately after installing the system. And finally, if you don't want to always use filtered water, even for washing the dishes, you might want to consider a system with its own dedicated faucet instead. If you liked this video, you'll love the next, which is our lab test of the Clearly Filtered pitcher, so click or tap to keep watching.